Welcome to everyone. We start the satsang with reciting Bhagavad-Gita. Then we will have guided meditation. Then we have chanting the bhajans. Then we will have the talk. Today, the talk is from our honorable guest, Ravi Prakash ji. Then we conclude the satsang. That is our normal schedule. So Bhagavad-Gita is recited by Meera ji. She is from Czech Republic and she is reciting Bhagavad-Gita chapter 3. After the Gita Dhyanam, she is reciting from chapter 3.
पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवैत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्ससुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भीष्मद्रोण तथा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरननदी कैवर्तककेशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम्। लोके सज्जन षट्पदेरहरः पीपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारत पंकजं कलिमला प्रध्वंसिन श्रेयसी मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैर्गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततर्कतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः। अदः कर्मयोगो नाम तृतीयोऽध्यायः। अर्जुन उवाच ज्यायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्माणि भुर्णे मां नियोजयसि केशव। व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्। श्रीभगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ ज्ञानयोगेन संख्यानां कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम्। न कर्माणामनारम्भान् नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते न च सन्न्यासनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति। न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत् कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्वप्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः। कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरम् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः उच्यते। यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रिये कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते। नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं कर्म ज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येत कर्मणः। यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गसमाचर। सह यज्ञाः प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम् एष वोस्त्विष्ठकामधुक्। देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु यः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यत। इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवा दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तानप्रदायेभ्यो यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः। यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्दो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्। अन्नात् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्न सम्भवः यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञकर्म समुद्भवः। कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम् तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्। एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयति हयः। अघायुरिन्द्रियारामो मोघं पार्थ स जीवति। यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः। आत्मन्येवाच सन्तुष्टः तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते। नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थो न कृतेनेह कश्चन। न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः तस्मात् असक्तसततं कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पूरुषः कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यं कर्तुमर्हसि। शांति शांति शांतिः।
Sit straight and comfortable. Keep your back straight, head straight. Keep your hands in any meditative mudra. Gently close your eyes. Relax your body. Relax the face. Today we can do Shosana Dhyanam, meditating by using our own breath. Take deep breath consciously, deep inhalation and complete exhalation. Do the deep breathing with awareness. After a few deep breaths, come back to normal breathing. Breathe normally and bring your awareness to your nostril and feel the breath at your nostril. Feel the temperature difference of your inhaling and exhaling air. While inhaling, slightly cool air passing through the nostril. While exhaling, warm and humid air coming out through the nostril. Feel your breath at your nostril. Now, expand your awareness to the deeper level of your respiratory system. While inhaling, the air passing through your windpipe and entering into your lungs expands and abdomen expands. While exhaling, your abdomen and lungs contracts and the air going up through your windpipe and coming out through your nostril. Feel your breath deep up to your abdomen. Now, feel your breath more deep into your body and mind. While inhaling, you are energizing your body and mind with the prana. While exhaling, you are releasing all your stress, strain, pain, and toxin from your body and mind. Inhale, you are energizing your system. Exhale, you are relaxing your system. Once again, bring your awareness to the tip of your nostril and recognize your breath. Your breath may not be smooth or rhythmic. There may be some jerking in your breath. One of your nostrils may slightly closed than other. It's nothing but the imbalance of prana. Just recognize the nature and limitation of your breath. And we will correct our breath with Sankalpa Nadi Shuddhi. We will do the alternative nostril breathing by using the power of the mind. Imagine and feel that you are inhaling through the left nostril slowly and exhaling through your right nostril slowly and completely. Again, imagine you are inhaling through the right nostril slowly and exhaling to the left slowly and completely. Now it is one round of Sankalpa Nadi Shuddhi. Again, visualize you are inhaling through the left nostril and continue Sankalpa Nadi Shuddhi. Use your will and try to direct the flow of the breath through your alternative nostril. Keep going on. Sankalpa Nadi Shuddhi. Keep observing the effect of the Sankalpa Nadi Shuddhi. Your breath slowly started flowing through alternative nostrils. Your mind is more calm and relaxed. Keep going on. Sankalpa Nadi Shuddhi. Use the power of your mind and direct the flow of your breath through alternating nostrils. Now, your breath started flowing through alternating nostril smoothly. Your mind is one-pointed, focused, calm, and relaxed. Now, you can drop your efforts and come back to normal breathing. No control, no effort. Experience the natural flow of the breath. Your breath is smooth and rhythmic. Your nostrils are balanced. Your mind is calm. Now, let us follow our breath with our mind. While inhaling, follow your breath into your body. While exhaling, follow your breath out the body. Keep following your breath in and out. You may feel your breath even few inches outside your nostril, up to where your pranic body is expanded. Puraga, the inhalation, takes you to the Jivatma, the individual self. Rajaka, the exhalation, takes you to the Paramatma, the cosmic self. Kevala Kumbhaka, the union of Jivatma with the Paramatma. Keep following your breath in and out. The energy one used to spend for thinking is diverting inward in this process. It takes you to your inner self, where you can experience your inner silence, where you can experience the bliss of yourself. Once you reach that silent state of mind, stay still and enjoy the ananda of dhyana. Whenever you come out of the meditation, again keep following your breath. enjoy the bliss of meditation. Om. 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 Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Jai Ganesha Bhajan. Asna.
Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Hari Ram. Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Pahi Ram. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Pahi Ram. Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Rakshama. Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Shri Saraswati, Jaya Saraswati, Jaya Saraswati, Pahi Maan. Shri Saraswati, Shri Saraswati, Shri Saraswati, Rakshama. Jaya Saraswati, Jaya Saraswati, Jaya Saraswati, Pahi Maan. Shri Saraswati, Shri Saraswati, Shri Saraswati, Rakshama. Jaya Saraswati, Jaya Saraswati, Jaya Saraswati, Pahi Maan. Jaya Saraswati, Jaya Saraswati, Jaya Saraswati, Pahi Maan. Shri Saraswati, Shri Saraswati, Shri Saraswati, Rakshama. Shri Saraswati, Shri Saraswati, Shri Saraswati, Rakshama. Jaya Guru Shiva Guru Hari Guru Ram. Jagat Guru Param Guru Sat. Jaya Guru Shiva Guru Hari Guru Ram. Jagat Guru Param Guru Sat. Adi Guru Vati Gurvananda Guru. Adi Guru Vati Gurvananda Guru. Sit Guru Chitana Guru Chintaya Guru. Sit Guru Chitana Guru Chintaya Guru. Adi Guru Vati Gurvananda Guru. Sit Guru Chitana Guru Chintaya Guru. Adi Guru Vati Gurvananda Guru. Sit Guru Chitana Guru Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Om Namo Jesus, Om Namo Jesus, Om Namo Jesus, Om Namo Om Namo Jesus, 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 Om Namo Om Namo Jesus, Om Namo Jesus, Om Namo Allah, Om Namo Allah, Om Namo Buddha, Om Namo Buddha, Om Namo Allah, Om Namo Allah, Om Namo Buddha, Om Namo Buddha, Om Namo Allah, Om Namo Allah, Om Namo Buddha, Om Namo Buddha. Om Namo Allah, Om Namo Allah, Om Namo Buddha, Om Namo Buddha. Satnani Kani Satnani Kaveva, Samanyani Kani Deva Sudeva, Satnani Kani Satyam Duveda Deva, Samanyani Kani Deva Sudeva Deva, Satnani Kani Satyam Duveda Deva, Samanyani Kani Deva Satvanyanekani satyam tuvikamiva, Samanyanekani deva tuvikamiva. Shri Ram Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Shri Ram Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Anandam Brahmanandam, Anandam Brahmanandam, Anandoham Anandoham, Anandam Satchidanandam, Anandoham Anandoham, Anandam Satchidanandam, Anandoham Anandoham, Anandam Paramanandam, Anandoham Anandoham, Anandam Paramanandam. Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Om. Today we have our honorable guest, Dr. Ravi Prakash Arya. Is a world-renowned Vedic scholar and philologist. Now he is working as professor at Maharshi Dayananda State University, Haryana, near the Delhi. He is also research director in Indian Foundation for Vedic Science. He is also edited so many research journals. He's also edited the research journal Vedic Science, dealing with the scientific interpretation of Vedas and allied literature and ancient Indian tradition. He gave talks on radios, televisions, and presented papers in India as well as abroad. He has produced around 64 research papers and 73 books in India and abroad. His main topics of interest are Vedas, Indian history and culture. There's a lot to tell about him. I know him personally since some months. I have heard about him a lot. But few months back, I got a chance to speak with him, and let us listen him. Welcome, Professor Ji. We are waiting for your speech.
Thank you, Harilal Ji. And I also thank all the members of Arsh Yoga, Kerala. And I also thank my friends, Professor Jaswant Patel, Professor Anand Kumar Sharma, Arun Upadhyay, and Ish Narangaji, who gathered here and take benefit of this satsang that is being conducted by Arsh Yoga, Kerala. Although we were in contact and I was invited to speak since December, but the dates and the timings, sometime they were clashing and not suitable. And so finally it was decided that today I will be speaking, and I have been given a subject of yoga itself, because most of the participants of Arsh Yoga they are involving themselves into the yoga itself. And Arsh Yoga, pardon? Arsh Yoga is a very beautiful name, because Arsh means seers, the yoga that has been propagated by the seers or the Vedic seers. So I think this Arsh Yoga is the apt name for introducing Veda to the world. So now the question is that Veda, the yoga is so much popular in the whole of the world, and everybody is propagating and talking about yoga. And there have been many methods explored by the experts while talking about the yoga. But the real yoga that came through Vedas, and finally that was propagated by Patanjali, the great seer of this country, and the yoga that is named as Patanjali's Yoga Darshan. What is its methodology? Why the yoga needs to be done? What are the very parameters that makes one deserve to perform yoga? These are so many questions that may be raised by inquisitive minds. As we know, only the Vedic philosophy and the Vedic seers, they try to understand the human life in a most appropriate manner. And the objective of the human life has been defined by Vedic seers. And I don't think any of the philosophies in the world, they are able to define the objective of the human life. And the objective of the human life today, when we go around the world, we may find the objective of the human life is to earn more money, just to gather this material resources and enjoy. And we don't find any other objective of the life. But as per Vedic seers, the objective of the human life is, that is in one word, that is called Purushartha. Purushartha. And this Purushartha, it contains 4 words: Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So the first objective of the human life is Dharma. dharma is not some religious things or religion. Dharma means inculcation of moral, ethical, human values, knowledge system in one's life. That is dharma. And this dharma has been very well defined by Manusmriti, by Manu, the great, the first lawgiver of humankind, in his work Manusmriti. And he says, Dhriti Kshama Damo Asteyam Shaucham Indriya Nigraha Dhir Vidya Satyam Akrodho Dashkam Dharma Lakshanam. He has told 10 types of dharma. Dhriti means to have patience, not to speak lie, not to do any violation. And shortly, if I will say, the Patanjali, since you are all the learners of Patanjali Yoga Darshan, Patanjali has defined this dharma in 2 words, yama and niyama. These are the 2 parts of the Ashtanga Yoga. What is yama? Yama is social discipline. Whatever Patanjali says about yama, and that has been also said by Manu, yama is the social discipline, and it contains ahimsa, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, like that. Means non-violence, speaking truth, asteya, non-stealing, aparigraha, non-hoarding. These are known as a social discipline, because all these things are being observed by us while interacting with the people in the society. This is known as a social discipline, that is called as a yama. And another set that is known as a niyama. Niyama means self-discipline, that you have to discipline yourself by all those things, and those are 5 niyamas are shaucha, santosha, tapa, swadhyaya, and ishvara pranidhanani. Shaucha, purity of self, mind and body. Tapaha, 3 types of tapas are there: sharirika, mental tapaha, and spiritual tapaha. So these shaucha, tapa, swadhyaya, study of the shastras, and ishvara pranidhanani, surrender to the God. These are the self-discipline. You are to observe all these 5 things in yourself. You are not interacting with anybody while observing these things. This is your self-discipline. So this yama and niyama, in other way called as dharma, this is the first objective of human life. And the second objective is artha. First, you attain moral, ethical values, human values, value system you attain or you gather. Then you try to gather the material resources. Material resources are to be accumulated as per dharma, following dharma. But today, a reverse trend is going on. First of all, people, they accumulate wealth, artha, and through that wealth, they want to earn dharma. They are doing some socially useful activities or any social activities in the society with the help of that artha. So this is the reverse order we are following. First of all, we should attain or achieve dharma, moral, ethical, human values, the knowledge. Then we should accumulate the wealth following the path of dharma. And third objective of the human life is kama. Kama means everybody has some desire in his life. We want to do certain things. So fulfillment of desire with the help of the artha earned following the path of dharma. That is the third objective of the human life. And the last objective of the human life that has been defined by Vedic seers, that is moksha. Moksha means final emancipation, final detachment, or you can say living detachment from these worldly activities, or union with the Paramatma, union of Jivatma with the Paramatma, and disunion of Jivatma with this mundane world. So that is moksha. And accordingly, keeping in view of these four objectives of human life, the entire Vedic system, the entire intellectual tradition of India has been formulated by the Vedic seers. And these Shad Darsanas, of which Yoga Darshan or Yoga and Sankhya are the parts, this tradition also takes you to the same system. In the third, just now, Meera, she recited the third chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. And while reciting the third chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, she quoted a shloka, Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam, Karma Yogena Yoginam. These Sankhya and Yoga, these are the twin shastras. These are the twin scriptures. They are interrelated. Sankhya talks about jnana and yoga talks about karma. So what is the difference between the jnana of Sankhya and the yoga of karma? If we are able to understand this, I think the whole crux of the yoga or the Vedic system could be understood. Sankhya is just the jnana. And what is jnana? There are two words used in Sanskrit frequently. In Bhagavad-Gita also, Krishna says to Arjuna, Jnanam te sa vijnanam. I give you the jnana along with the vijnana. So what is that jnana and what is vijnana? Jnana, the Adi Shankara, a great philosopher of this country, after Mahabharata, he defines both the terms very beautifully. Adi Shankara says, Jnanam Vishayaha, Vishayanubhutira Vijnanam, Vijnanam Anandam Brahma. He says, Jnana, mere information is the Jnana. Information of anything, that is jnana. So information of Brahman or Paramatma is the jnana. When that information is realized, is experimented, or comes to your experience, that becomes vijnana. Similarly, one more Vedic scholar in 19th century, Maharshi Dayananda Saraswati, he also defined vijnana. He says, Parameshwarad Arabhya Trina Paryantam Sakshat Bodhana Vayatvat. Means right from God till the root of grass, if we are able to realize this whole system, that is known as a Vijnana. So Sankhya is a Jnana. Jnana means it gives you the information. What type of information Sankhya gives you? Sankhya gives us the information that how a person, how a soul becomes embodied, embodiment of soul. A soul becomes embodied, a pure soul becomes jiva. Jiva means embodied soul that occupies this mundane body, this physical body. Sankhya tells about that. And occupying or embodiment of the soul is its bondage in this mundane world. And when this soul gets embodied or gets away from this body, that is known as a disembodiment. And this embodiment is told by yoga. And yoga gives a full methodology how to get this soul disembodied from this physical body. And disembodiment of soul is just the moksha. And embodiment of soul is bondage or cycling in, reeling under the cycle of life and death. So these two things, Sankhya and Yoga, Sankhya tells how the body gets embodied, and Yoga tells us the way out, how to get this body disembodied, or how to attain moksha. And for this whole system, disembodiment, for attaining moksha, or final, we can say, relief from the suffering, spiritual suffering, astronomical suffering, or the physical suffering, that is the main aim of yoga. And for that matter, this mind plays a role, great role. This mind plays the role whether a body is going to be embodied or whether a body is going to be disembodied. Nothing can happen without the help of mind. Now the question is, there are 3-4 things talks about or included into the mind. First one is ahankara, then another one is chitta, another one is buddhi, or chitta we call. There are 2, 3, 4 things which are combinedly known as mind. Buddhi, chitta, ahankara. All these 3 things, we call them as mind. But Patanjali, while he talking about the yoga, he picks up the one part. He says, yogas chitta vritti nirodha. What is yoga? While defining yoga, he says, chitta vritti nirodha. Means he says, the withdrawal of your mind from the outside world, that is yoga. And nirodha, the word nirodha has been explained by so many scholars in different way. Some says nirodha means suppression of mind. Some says it is the control of mind. But you know, neither through suppression nor through forcibly controlling anything you can attain anything. So here nirodha means withdrawal of mind from the sensory objects in the outside world, that is yoga. And this chitta, what is chitta? We shall have to understand the chitta. If we are not able to understand the chitta perfectly, I don't think we will be able to understand the yoga. Chitta, the mind, it has 2 qualities. There are 2 qualities of mind. First mind is empty mind. Empty mind. It's a pure mind. It has nothing in it. And the second mind is the full mind or modified mind, a mind full of the information from outside world. That is called as a chitta. If the mind has lot of information from the outside world, that is known as a chitta. And this chitta, this modified mind or the mind modified by the information from outside world, it is a fickle mind. It keeps on running and at a very fast pace, it keeps on running. And this mind is called as a chanchala or fickle mind. Why the mind becomes fickle? I'll just give a small example. Suppose there are 2 shopkeepers. In one of the shopkeepers, there is no item to be sold out. So what he will do? You will find him sitting still without any activity. But in another shop, the shopkeeper has a lot of things to sell. He has a store of lot of things. Then there will be the full activity. The people will be going in, coming out. So you will find him busy. Similarly, if the mind is full of the information from outside world, it is a chitta, it will remain active, it will remain fickle. But if there is no information from outside world in your mind will become sthira. it will become stabilized. There will be no activity. So simple method Patanjali gives the how the mind is to be withdrawn from outside world. You will have to empty it. You will have to empty it from the outside information. And when the mind is emptied, it will become stabilized. And what will happen? Yogas, chitta, vritti, nirodha, it will be withdrawn from the outside world. And then what will happen? Next, Patanjali says very beautifully, he says, tada drishtu swarupe avasthanam. And when the mind becomes emptied from the outside world, information of the outside world, then drishtu swarupe avasthanam, then the seeker will establish in himself. He will be able to identify his true nature. What is the true nature of mind? True nature of mind is that it is esprit, it is pure mind, it has no physical intent in it. So this true nature of mind, he will be able to identify his true nature. What is the seeker's true nature? Seeker's true nature is that he is pure soul. He is not a soul, or he is not this body or the mind. When the mind becomes stabilized, then the seeker will be able to identify his true nature. True nature means he is pure soul. Neither he is this body, because generally we call, if something happens to our physical body, we call, oh, I have been hurt, I have got this thing on my body. So we identify, generally a human being identify himself either with his body or with his thought process, whatever thinking, or with his mind. But when this mind is emptied of the outside information, a seeker will establish in himself, and he will be able to identify his true nature, that he is pure soul. And when this idea comes, what will happen? He will be able to distinguish himself from this body, and he will be able to know, no, I'm not this body, I'm only the soul. And the third thing, the third highest thing, how a seeker would be merging with the Brahman. At this first stage, when the mind is emptied from the outside world, a seeker is able to realize his true self. But one thing is always with him by that time, and that is aham. When a child is born, what the Sankhya philosopher tells us, that prakritir mahan mahato ahankaraha. How a human being is born, he says, when the soul comes in contact with this prakriti, with this material world, then prakritir mahan, from this material world, his intellectual power, that is formed. Mahan means buddhi. His buddhi comes into being. When a human being is endowed with buddhi, or the power of thinking, what will happen next? What will happen? Then mahato ahankaraha. He will have the ahankara. Ahankara means sense of individuality. Ahankara doesn't mean ego, means a sense of individuality. If some intellectual person is there, intelligent person is there, immediately he will have a feeling of possession. No, this is mine, this is not his. So he will be, when a person is endowed with intelligence while taking birth, immediately he gets his possession of the body. He says, no, this is this is me, this is I, and this is not, I'm different from others. So this type of ahama, sense of individuality, immediately comes to the mind of an intelligent person. So mahato ahankara, while a human being is born as a child, first of all, his intellectual power is evolved. Then the power of individuality, just to distinguish himself from others, is created, and then all his sense organs and everything is created. So this aham, the sanskar of aham, the third most important thing to understand the yoga or a sankhya is the word sanskara. First of all, I would like to define it. If we are not able to understand sanskara, the word sanskara, I think we will not, it is one of the technical terms of the yoga darshan, and we won't be able to understand the yoga system properly. What is sanskara? Sanskara, whatever work we do, whatever we think, however we interact with the people or with the outside world, all these activities, they leave subtle impressions, they leave micro impressions on our mind, and those are the psychological impressions. And those psychological impressions, when a human being takes birth, they are converted into biological genes. So whatever our DNA or RNA is, that is determined by our sanskaras. And Vedanta philosopher, in Vedanta Darshan, Vyasa Maharshi, he says, he very beautifully says, he says, sanskar bijat srishti. These sanskaras, this information from the outside world accumulated in mind, that is known as sanskar, that these sanskaras are the seed for the birth of the future life of a human being. Sanskar bijat srishti. And similarly, if you have gone through the Yoga Darshan, Maharshi Patanjali, there he says, sanskar sakshat karanat purva jnati janam. When a yogi is able to identify or realize the sanskar of a human being, he will be able to know his previous species, birth species, previous lives. Just like Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, I know all your past lives and I know my past lives also. So Krishna was able to realize the sanskaras of Arjuna. Similarly, Patanjali says, if you are able to realize the sanskar of a particular human being, if a yogi do sanyama on a person and have his sanskaras known, then he will be able to know his past life. So this sanskar is a very, very important term while understanding yoga. I told, when you empty your mind from the outside information, the sanskaras of the outside world will be emptied from your mind and you will establish in yourself. But the sanskar of aham is not going to be empty, that is being carried by you. So Patanjali further says how this sanskar of aham or individuality is also erased. You know, when we have all the sanskaras erased from the outside world and only the sanskar of aham is carried by us, what will happen? A seeker or a yogi is called as Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta means he has got emancipation while living, but he will again take birth, after certain duration of time, after a yuga or a Mahayuga, as the same yogi. And that taking birth after birth by a yogi is due to the fact that he has erased all the sanskaras of the outside world, but he has not erased the sanskar of aham. So if you want to enjoy life as per yoga, you have your sanskar of aham, but erase the sanskar of outside world, then you will come, you will take birth in this world, and you will guide the humanity at large, the people at large, just like Sri Krishna did. But you are not going to entangle yourself with this outside world, and you will remain unattached with the outside world, and you will enjoy the life. You will be free from the sorrows and pains and pleasures of this life. Just like one example I'm just going to give, Janak, everybody might have heard the name of King Janak. He was the father of Sita, Rama's wife. In the palace of Janak, some seer came, some rishi came, and he asked a question to King Janaka. He asked him, how the king, you are doing all kingly activities, you are ruling this Mithila, but still you remain unattached from this worldly world, from this world, and you are known as Jivan Mukta. How it is? Then king told him, first you take meals, then I will give the answer to your question. And he was that rishi, he was invited for the meals, and where he was taking meals, some sword was hung upon him with a thread that could have been broken immediately. When the seer was taking meals, his attention was towards the sword, and he was thinking lest the sword would fall upon him and he will be wounded. So he took the whole meals and he was allowed to see the king again. And Janak asked him, how was the meals? He told, King Janak, I had all the meals, but I had a fever of that sword. You hung upon me, and I am not aware what was taken by me as the meals. So the Janak told, this is the answer of your questions. I'm doing all worldly activities. I'm ruling this public, but I'm not aware. I have not involved myself into these worldly affairs. My whole concentration, I have my mind fixed to the God himself. So I'm enjoying life. I'm away from these feelings of pain and pleasure. So Yoga Darshan gives us both the things. So this second aphorism of the Yoga Darshan, which says Tada Drishtu Swarupe Avasthanam, it has two meanings. First meaning, for a person who has emptied his mind from the outside world, according to him, that seeker will establish in himself and he will be able to identify his true nature, that I am not this material world, I am not the part of this material world, I am the part of that spirituality, that Brahman. And when he is able to eliminate his aham, sansekara of aham, then the second meaning comes, and that is tadadrishtu swarupe avasthanam. Then the seeker establishes himself in the Brahman itself. He becomes one with Brahman. So these are the two meanings. First one, and at that stage, the seeker will be known as Videha Yogi, Videha. And here, Videha, and in the first stage, where only the information of the outside world has been erased, he will be known as Jivan Mukta. And at the final stage, where he merges with Brahman, that is known as Videha Mukta. And when a person becomes Videha Mukta, he lives in emancipation throughout the whole life of this universe. First life of universe, he will take birth only the next cycle of universe, and that period is known as 311 trillion years. One full cycle of the universe, according to the Vedic system, it involves 311 trillion years. So this is how this whole yogic system tells us. The Sankhya tells us how one gets embodied, and yoga gives you a practical exercise. It is a psycho-engineering. It tells us how to get oneself disembodied. And that is why the Vedic seers While talking about the science, in Vaisheshik Darshan, the Vaisheshik Kanada, he says, there are three types of energies. One is Sthitiz Urja, one is potential energy, second one is Gatiz energy or kinetic energy, and third one is the Bhavana Sansakara, that is known as psychic energy. So three sansakaras or three energies have been told by the Vedic seers, because according to the Vedas, this creation doesn't involve the matter only, but the spiritual aspect is also one of the part of this creation. So when we talk about the only materialistic creation, then only two sanskaras will work, and that is potential energy, sthiti is sanskar, and gati is sanskar or kinetic energy. When the this creation has the spiritual element also, then bhavana sanskar has to be there, so that psychic energy is there. Maharshi Patanjali, he is talking about to evolve your psychic energy. And one more thing, generally what we are having impression of the yoga, we feel that doing this aerobatic exercises, doing asanas is the yoga. Yoga is not mere doing asanas. There are 8 parts of the yoga: yama, niyama, asana, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. And you know, if you don't observe yama and niyama, as I told earlier, you cannot do yoga. You cannot find yourself deserving to treat the path of yoga. So first of all, yama means social discipline you will have to make. You will not have to hurt anybody. You will not have to steal the money or any wealth of anybody, even with your mind, with your body, and manasa, vacha, and karmana, mind, action, thought, action, and body. You cannot think of doing harm of anybody. You will have to observe yamas first. And aparigraha, you see, aparigraha, non-hoarding. These days, we start hoarding things when we think that the panic buying takes place. This panic buying is not the part of aparigraha. If you become panicked, then you are not able to follow the path of yoga. You will have to observe social discipline first. You will have to attain success in observing this social discipline. Then you will have to attain your self-discipline. First social, then self-discipline comes, because according to Vedas, the Vedic philosophy is a different type of philosophy. Today in the modern philosophy, the modern science says there is a struggle, survival of the struggle. And a person who is strong, he will only survive, and clashes of civilization is going on. The struggle is going on, only the strong one, they are going to survive. But there is another philosophy. There is another philosophy of Buddhism, and that philosophy says, live and let live. You also live and let others live. Don't kill them. But the Vedic philosophy is quite separate from these two philosophies. Vedic philosopher says, live and help others to live. You also live and help those persons who are not able to live properly. So you will have to, that is why the word has been coined propakara. Propakara means help others to live. Word has been coined as aparigraha. Don't hoard things. The word has been coined asteya. Don't steal anybody's thing. Word has been coined as ahimsa. Don't do violence. So all these things will lead you to live a life of Vedic philosophy, and that is the life of live and help others to live. And you know, I think my time is going to end, but I would also like to explain a few immediately one more thing. human life. We are all human. This is one standard line. And if you go above human life, that is known as the divinity, and that is known as Swarga, that is known as Devatva. And if you go below this human life, the species of human life, that is known as Naraka, that is known as hell. A very beautiful word has been described by Patanjali. Patanjali says, Sati Mule Jati Ayura Bhogaha. This aphorism is very important to understand the future of your being. Sati Mule Jati Ayura Bhoga. He says, when the sanskaras are left with you, when you have the sanskaras from this outside world, what will happen? Based upon those sanskaras, you will attain your future species of life. Species, I'm not saying future yoni, jati. Species means whether you will become a bird, animal, or insect, or a tree. That species will be determined according to the sanskaras you have accumulated in this life. And the third thing, jati, ayu. Ayu means the lifespan. How long you will be in that particular species. If you will be living a life of a tree for 1,000 years, 10,000 years, or a life of a human being for 1,000 years, 11,000 years, that will be determined with the sanskar you have accumulated. And sometime in Ramayana, you might have heard that Rama ruled this world for 11,000 years. That was not in one go. He took birth after birth as a human life, and in all the birth, he was emerging as a ruler. So the full lifespan in one species, that will be determined by the sanskara, jati, ayu, and bhoga. Bhoga means, suppose you are born as a human being again. So bhoga, whether you are getting pleasures, physical pains, diseases, you are afflicted by mental problems, all these are due to your past sanskaras. You have accumulated these three things, and that is why it is said a person carries nothing with him in the next life. He carries four things: Ayu, Vidya, Yash, and Bala. Ayu means your life, Vidya, the knowledge you have attained, Yash, the name, fame, and Bala, your physical strength or the health you will carry. And that is why in one of the Niti shloka, the author of the Niti says, Abhivadan Nityam Abhivadan Shilasya Vridhopasevinah Chatwari Tasya Vardhante Ayura Vidya Yasho Balam. A person who bows, who have respect for elderly persons, for the scholars, Abhivadan Shilasya Nityam Vridhopasevinah, who takes care of elderly persons, who are elderly in age, who are elderly in knowledge, who takes care of them, who have respect for them. He adds to his life four things: Ayu, Vidya, Yash, and Bal. The age, good health, Vidya, the knowledge, that will be added to his life. And that is why all the times it has been said that in Ayurveda also, you will be surprised to know that Ayurveda talks about two types of diseases. One is karma vyapashraya chikitsha, another is daiva vyapashraya chikitsha. Karma vyapashraya chikitsha means treating a patient with the help of medicines and surgery, that is karma vyapashraya chikitsha. And another is daiva vyapashraya chikitsha, means treating a human being or a patient not with the help of medicines, but through yajna, dan, and tapa. In 7th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna says, yajna, dan, karma, na tyajam. These three things are to be done regularly by all human beings: yajna, dan, and tapaha. Tapaha means this yoga. Tapaha, mansik tapaha means just to study of the shastras, and sharirik tapaha is yoga, and taking care of elderly persons, that is also one of the parts of the yoga. So yajna, dana, tapa, these things are to be done daily. These are the nitya karma, karmas that are to be done daily. Similarly, on other hand, if we see, if a human being is not doing all these things, or he is not doing, he cannot be cured. So the diseases that are afflicting you due to the past karmas of your life, so though all such diseases can be cured through the yajna, tapa and dana, if you want to get rid of such diseases. Suppose if you are always getting treatment from the doctor, but you are not getting any or you are not recovering, that means you must do some certain yaj, dan or tap type of activities so that you may heal yourself from the afflictions that have attained by you due to your past karma. So this whole system, whether Ayurveda is there, whether the Shad Darshanas are there, whether the Vedas are there, they are intertwined and they are talking about the same thing. The main purpose is to the attainment of the four objectives of the human life, and everything is there for the elevation of human being. Vedas, the Vedic philosophy, is there to elevate the human being to the level of divinity. And the sanskar, the modern science or the modern world, we are doing the sanskara with material thing. We are refining oil so that we may run car and motors. We are refining things so that we may construct roads and buildings. But the Vedic philosopher says you do the sanskar of material things for your needs, but you should do the sanskar of a human being, because it is said, Janmana jayate shudraha sanskarair dvijuchyate. Everybody by birth is born as an animal, and when he gets the sanskar of morality, education, he becomes dvija, means he is born twice. A human being is born twice, one from the womb of his mother and another from the womb of the acharya, because he is known as antevasi. He is known as living in the womb of the acharya or the teacher. He gives him all the value system and he is born as a human being. And I think I have taken 5 minutes more than what was scheduled given to me. And I thank especially Sri Harilalji and this Arsh Yoga Vidya Kendra in Kerala, and all my friends who listen to me patiently. Thanks, everybody. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you very much, Ravi Prakash ji. He explained very well in such short time. Thank you very much. We hope you will come again for some other satsang and talk more for us.
Yes.
I'm sure everyone enjoyed your talk. The analogies you use from Puranas and Upanishads and your own explanation from your own personal experience. Altogether, you explained very well, and thank you very much. We are expecting you again and again. Thank you.
Thank you.